right, everybody, welcome back to the fourth installment of the NERDCAST. I'm joined here by a special guest today. Steven has the weekend off, or he's at least on vacation. I'm joined today, though, with Jarret.
Hi.
Okay, that's your introduction.
Yeah, my name's Jarret. I am Dylan's brother and one of Steven's buddies. I've known Dylan my whole life. I've known Steven practically my whole life. So,
yeah. So, Jarret's going to be filling in for Steven today, especially covering the main topic we're going to be covering today. The big news, we were actually going to skip this week, but the huge news coming from Nintendo about the Mario 35th is the main topic of conversation today. But let's get things out of the way first. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to us on Twitch, or you can follow on Twitch. Is that what it is, Jarret?
Yes, it's following on Twitch. Subscribe on YouTube. Hey, if we get enough followers on Twitch, you can eventually subscribe on Twitch.
Oh yeah. Download on Apple Podcasts. What else? And if you want to donate to the Patreon, I guess you can. That is Steven's thing. I'm not going to talk out of line on that. But otherwise, what's been really going on this week with Nerdologist is we released the third podcast to YouTube as well as iTunes, or not iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Jarret, have you listened to any of them yet?
I plead the fifth. I've been busy.
How busy?
Work. Like, from the minute I get to work, I'm busy and I can't stop.
Well, luckily we're recording this. We're actually not recording it at 11 p.m. We're like me and Steven usually do. It's 12:30 on a Sunday afternoon, and tomorrow is Labor Day. So it looks like, Jarret, you can take 4 hours out of your Labor Day tomorrow and listen to every podcast.
Oh, God. Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, Steven's also had a busy week. He's kind of relayed that info to me with work and everything like that. So there hasn't been any new Twitch streams, or the only YouTube upload has been the podcast. But to kind of jump into things, let's talk about the Mario 35th anniversary. I know you didn't get to watch it live. I did. I kind of freaked out. You ended up watching it a little bit delayed, right?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was at work. I heard it came out. And, okay, something about me. Mario Odyssey is actually my favorite game of all time. And the reason why is because it's the game that, like, made me fall in love with video games again. So I was so excited thinking that we might get a Mario Odyssey 2 announcement. Which, I mean, we didn't, but, like, I still thought it was a great direct. But so as soon as I heard about it, I'm like, listen, I know I'm at work. I know I'm supposed to be working. But it's 15 minutes. People at my work take 15-minute breaks to go smoke cigarettes. Like, I can take a 15-minute break to...
First of all, sorry to interrupt you, but who in 2020 still smokes cigarettes?
Old people.
Be a little bit more self-conscious.
Old people.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong. Because whenever they first probably started smoking cigarettes, it was approved by the doctor.
Yeah,
so
but whatever. But so I took a little bit of time, to work, and I just watched it, and it was fantastic. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of stuff to cover there, so that's going to be mainly the only topic of news this week. To kind of start off, and I'm going to send you over, Jarret, the listing.
Of this, okay,
cool. I found it on Eurogamer. I can kind of kick it off, though. One of the first things announced was the Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury coming out for the Switch.
Yes.
I mean, we played it in college on the Wii U. I think it is probably the best game for the Wii U.
It was really great. I mean, I'm a Splatoon guy, so like I thought Splatoon was one of the best games for Wii U, but like 3D World was probably the most genuine like fun I've had playing video games. Just sitting there playing games with me, you, our other roommates, and like some other friends, even when they would come over, and it would just be fun. It's just pure fun, I guess. That's the only way I can describe it.
And then they're kind of making it worth your while by adding in the Bowser's Fury. So it's going to probably end up being, if I had to guess, a $60 game. Which I don't have any problems with, especially considering they're giving us a huge gap of when one of the biggest announcement, the last announcement, that release date is, and the 3D World comes out the 12th of February.
Yeah.
2021.
If they were like a month apart, but there's a long distance.
I'd still buy them both, but I like to kind of play through an entire game before I even jump into another game. As you know, Jarret, me and Steven are both big Crash Bandicoot fans.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and if you would have never guessed, there is less than a month before Crash 4 comes out.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, so October 4th. Wow. Or 2nd, actually. Cool. So the last announcement, and I guess we can jump into it right now because I think it's my favorite announcement, is the All-Star 3D.
Yeah, and that's my God.
It's like, the biggest one.
We've known, there's been rumors and people have known it's going to happen forever, but it's absolutely just what needs to happen.
And I'm go ahead.
It's just they're like 3 quintessential games, and the thing is, I've actually never played Sunshine, so I'm excited to play Sunshine. Like I've never beat 64 nor Galaxy, but I've at least played them, and I've try them out. I've never touched Sunshine.
I don't think I have either, and I think that's something that me and Steven talked about.
Sorry, my dog.
Oh, it's okay.
Going crazy.
But it's something that me and Steven talked about and we actually played a few games on Friday night. I've never played Sunshine. He obviously knows a little bit more about Sunshine, so whenever he's back on the podcast next week, he can probably talk about it a little bit more. But it comes out September 18th, physical copy. I already pre-ordered it from Amazon, so I should be getting it the 18th.
Yeah, I'm gonna pre-order it somewhere. I need to in the next couple of days because I am terrified that scalpers are gonna.
Oh yeah, well it's only a limited time release too, which is weird. But the other thing about that game though is you're getting 3 games, so you're basically paying $20 for full games. And
I mean, yes, but they're older games, so like it. I don't see it as like this amazing value, but
I also think that I'm happy, but I'm more so happy that they're not part of like they're not doing more online, or like how they have Super Nintendo online and NES online. I'm happy that they're not like that.
I think go
ahead.
I think the N64 online is gonna happen.
Yeah,
but the thing is, it's gonna be a straight port. It's like this is supposedly enhance visuals, enhance gameplay, and stuff like that. Because that was always my biggest issue with 64, is it felt so clunky. I mean, it was revolutionary for a time, I get it, but it still felt clunky and just weird.
Yeah.
But the one I feel like if and almost when they come out with the N64 online, that will be a good recreation of the original, whereas this one's gonna be all right, it's a little update.
Mm-hmm. That's what they did for what they also announced, the Super Mario All-Stars on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, we're just cool.
Online. It's just the port, which is not a big deal. So you get Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers Lost Levels, Super Mario Brothers 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's also weird, though, because they also have those games on the NES, on the, every single one of them.
Yeah, I mean, but it's... Oh, well.
But you get the updated graphics and controls.
Yeah. And, I think the ability to properly save.
That's true. I mean, you can properly save on any of them if you have suspend points.
That's not proper saving, though. Now you can actually it is feels like the original game now.
Yeah. They also announced Super Mario Brothers 35.
Where we dropping, boys? Mario Battle Royale, baby.
Yeah, so I didn't think of it more of a battle royale. I thought of it more as a
It's like Tetris 99.
yeah. So for that instance, if it's like Tetris 99, like it's going to be a quick play game, and kind of like I mean, I've been watching a lot of Fall Guys recently, and those games even take a long time to get through. It seems like, especially if you make it out the first round. I think this is going to be like a 5-minute game. Maybe 10 minutes.
Could be.
And it's just going to push people through. I'm kind of excited about that because it's for free.
Yeah, it's free. I'll try it.
But... yeah. Well, the other thing about it, though, is it goes away in March.
So here's an issue I have. That's annoying. I don't get it.
Well,
why?
Well, that's what they're doing with 3D All-Stars as well. You don't want to buy it from like retail after March.
No. At least with 3D All-Stars, after, like, if I can't find it in stores, I can always at least buy it digitally.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be there forever. It's not going away. And
yeah,
that's like kind of, and I don't get it.
Yeah, Nintendo really does this crappy marketing stunt, I would say, where they're like, it's available for a limited time to drive up the, desire and want for it. But why is a free game going to be available for a limited time?
Yeah, I mean, like, you don't really, because it's an online multiplayer game, there has to be servers, and they have to maintain those servers. But, like, you don't really have to. You could release it, and even if it's a buggy mess, people will be like, all right, it was free, whatever.
Yeah. And we all know Nintendo's online doesn't do well in general.
Well, yeah. Trust me, yeah.
It also kind of reminds me, and I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but I was in college. Flappy Bird.
You don't know if I'm old enough to remember Flappy Bird. I was in high school.
Well, do you remember that the creator took it off the App Store like 2 weeks? So that's what it feels like. And then like it drove up, like people were selling stupid iPhones for like $3,000 just because they had Flappy Bird installed on it. But the thing is, this is just going to disappear. So, Nintendo, we all know about Nintendo. They don't really care about the resale market anyway because they're just letting open source bots into their system and buying all the Switches. So that's why you can only find them on eBay for like 3 times the price.
Yeah.
If you didn't know about that.
Yeah, no, Nintendo, here's the thing, and this is almost going, I want to just turn to a rant at all, but Nintendo doesn't care about any secondary effect of any games they have. Mm-hmm. For instance, I'm a big Smash Bros. Player. They could not care less about the competitive Smash community, even though it's huge. Right now, I wouldn't care about the competitive Smash community for reasons. If you know, you know. But it's just that like they don't care about it, and when they host tournaments and stuff, it's super casual rules. They don't like other games. I forget the company that makes Injustice and Mortal Kombat. NetherRealm. They interact with the tournament organizers for the large like Mortal Kombat tournaments, and they work together. Nintendo, when they've sponsored tournaments, quote unquote, in the past, but that's essentially all they do is give them their seal of approval. Like, yeah, sure, we're fine with you. They don't help. They don't provide any sort of prize money or anything, and that's always been a point of contention with between like the Smash Bros. Players and Nintendo. It's just like, why won't you help a scene that is helping grow the popularity of your game? And like they don't have to do much. They don't have to do much. Because if Nintendo were to put, and this might sound like a lot of money, $20,000 for a super major. First off, that is a drop in the bucket for Nintendo. The biggest tournament in Smash Bros. History, the winner took home like $4,000. which is like nothing. If Nintendo were to put in $20,000, that winner could take home at least like 10 grand. So, I don't.
Nintendo always came off to me, and I've always been a Nintendo fanboy. You know, at points I've owned every console, sold every console half the time.
Yeah.
But in this, and once again, the 2 out of 4 podcasts, I have to reiterate this: we are not sexist here at Nerdologist. We are not at all against anybody, but Nintendo seems like that supermodel kind of stereotype where they're like incredibly attractive and they're like, oh, by the way, like there's no substance.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't care about the reselling, considering you can buy a Nintendo game launch day for $60 and then you can go and buy Melee 15 years later, more than 15, 18 years later.
Yeah, something like
almost,
that.
For $75 at a exchange or
on eBay
you can buy the Conker's Bad Fur Day for like $280. They don't care about the resale market. They're very similar to Funko. I'm looking at my Funkos right now. I got a glow in the dark Chester Cheetah, right? It's just the first one I saw. I got it at Target during what they deemed Target Con for $30, came with a t-shirt. The t-shirt alone is now worth $45. Funko, if they wanted to cut that off at the head, they could just like, we're going to release more. But then, you take away from the value. But video games can't do that because video games necessarily aren't. I collect video games. I collect physical copies. I only really buy physical copies, but they're not a collector's item.
Okay. Here's the thing. And this is going to be a little bit of my business background coming in. I'm an accountant. I went to college for business, so there's supply and demand, yes, but if the company Funko, Nintendo, or something were to say, "All right, we have this super rare Funko, like this expensive Funko, this If put it this way, if Funko sold their Chase figures, 1 in every 12 or something, 6, really, that's it.
Yeah, so it's 1 in every case.
Okay. If they sold their Chase figures for $35, but their regular figures for what's the standard rate, $11 or something like that,
that here you go too.
That doesn't there's some FEC trade guidelines that can be potentially breached there.
Yeah.
You're essentially marking the same thing with a slight cosmetic difference for 4 times the value. Wow. But the thing is, and that's what the secondary market's there for.
Yeah.
The secondary market can drive prices because they can go up and, they can
fluctuate.
Yeah, but then you got like the small retailers who get, you and I know this. I'm not going to name any store names or anything, but there's a store locally here that they'll buy a case and they'll take out.
Talked about the podcast before. We haven't mentioned the store name, but we've talked about.
But they'll take out the Chase figures and they'll put them on a shelf and sell them for more.
$45.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
It takes the entire idea out of the chase.
Yes, it does.
The reason why it's called a chase.
Because it's a hunt for it.
Yeah. But
back on Nintendo, it's not Nintendo's job to determine what games are more expensive. If one day people woke up and said, you know what, Conker's Bad Fur Day, it's not a great game. If the market decided that it was not valuable to them anymore, it would be a $2 game you could find at any yard sale or in any bin of games at a store.
Yeah.
It's all dependent on hype, on this, on that. And guess what? Melee, if it wasn't for the competitive scene, would be a $5 game.
Yeah, but the thing that Nintendo does is they only release so many, and then they don't produce anymore. Like, after the Switch is done, which me and Steven talked about this last week, if you'd actually listened to the podcast, Jarret.
Okay.
we talked about last week that I feel like Nintendo after the Switch is not going to have another console.
I don't believe that.
You think that they're going to make consoles, or you think that they're going to partner with Microsoft?
I believe they're going to continue to make consoles. I believe they're going to continue to make consoles, and here's why. If also that just reminded me of a story, and this is a minor story. There's this guy who me and Dylan were in a game shop at our college, and this guy came in, and he's like, "Man, how much can I get for my Xbox?" And like he was, let's just say, impaired.
No, that's not a good word to say.
What? Okay.
That's not a good word to say. Not impaired, but he was a little. He was high.
Yeah. Okay. He was high. Whatever.
We can be.
I'll just say. Yes, he was high. He was high, and he was like, "How much can I get for my Xbox?" Like, I'm not sure, man. He's like, "What if I tell you it's the all white Super Mario Bros. Edition Xbox 360?" And the guy running the store is like, "Man, I would have to see that to believe it."
Yeah.
I just remember cracking up when this dude, high as a kite, comes in and starts talking about his special edition Super Mario Brothers Xbox 360. Anyway, back on it. Here's the thing. I actually in college again, one of my main, I think it wasn't strategic management. It was some management class that I'd take, and we had to get into groups, and we had to do a big, huge company overview on a certain company. We had 4 people in a group. Me and this other guy were both big Nintendo guys, so we kind of just like, screw you guys, whatever, we're gonna do Nintendo. In hindsight, wouldn't have done it because it was very difficult to do, because we had to do a lot of financial data, yen conversion, stuff like that. It was a bit of a pain in the butt. But where I'm going with this is that this was right as the Switch was about to come out. Excuse me. And we were saying, okay, what's going to be the future? And the last thing is like, all right, if we were to talk to the board members, what's going to be the future of the company? And it was strictly dependent on the success of Nintendo Switch. If the Switch failed, and it was what's kind of known as a failure, like the Wii U, it's kind of known as a failure. Mm-hmm. Then you should scrap your hardware division, focus strictly on games.
Yeah.
Go the Sega route. But if the Switch succeeds, take the things that succeeded from the Switch and build that to your future consoles. So I feel like that Nintendo will never have another console that's just plug into a TV and that's the only thing. There's always going to be something different about it. I feel like the whole portability thing is the future from now. And it has to be the future.
The 3DS sold a lot.
Yes, but it has to be the future of the way, because those games that were strictly on portable, Pokemon and stuff, have now moved to console.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you got this hybrid console is what they call it, at least.
Yes, and I feel like from here on out, Nintendo will have to be that hybrid unit, that hybrid console. Mm-hmm. Because they set a precedent, and now, if they go back and revert, it's going to feel less than.
Yeah, don't worry, the Switch U is going to be coming out here soon.
Oh boy, shut up.
Speaking of the Switch U, and going to the future, but kind of going back, part of the 35th anniversary announcement was the Game & Watch that has...
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, depending on the price of it, I'll pick it up just because, it's a pocket version of an LCD colored version. It looks like an old school Game & Watch of Super Mario Brothers 1 and I think the Lost Levels.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's nothing that I will be clamoring to get.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun.
Yeah, and then you also get like the ball game and then all the Game & Watch. The reason why it's called a Game & Watch is because the watch part is actually a clock. And it'll have a specific Mario clock on it as well.
Yeah.
Also announced.
I think this is the last like big one was the Mario Kart home circuit. What is it called?
Yeah.
And listen, I as a 24-year-old am not going to buy this. If I was freaking 10 right now,
I'd be losing
this
my mind.
would be the best announcement ever. And,
Yeah.
and you know, as a 24-year-old, I'm still tempted to buy it. Don't you get me wrong.
Yeah, my dogs would go nuts, but
Yeah, same.
I would consider it. It's another price point issue. I can justify buying a bunch of Funko Pops. I can't justify buying an RC car.
Yeah. No, I mean, it would be fun, but
yeah, the only other thing I could think that really came from the and also kind of not to jump ahead so quickly.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a Luigi and Mario Kart. It looks like, and it's gonna be with VR. That you. It looks like you can use your Switch as.
It's not VR. It's AR, augmented reality. It's like how Pokemon Go was.
Okay, but you can use your Switch as a controller, and you can play with other people, which is cool.
It's really cool. It's a great concept.
I just imagine people just driving those cars into each other and breaking them on the first go. Well, I broke it.
So, like, if you hit somebody with an item, like their car just stops.
Yeah,
and then it'll go and it'll move again whenever you stop spinning out, which is cool.
I'm talking about driving them into each other.
Oh yeah, it's
and then them breaking and kids crying.
Yeah,
that's what kids do.
It'll be cool. If I had kids, they'd be getting them. But
the only other thing that I can think of is the Super Mario Puma.
Those are sick.
So
I don't wear Pumas, but I'm about to look at them.
You're not about to get them because they're sold out.
Oh, son of a...
Yeah, so they sold out. Nintendo never announced the release date. They just popped up on Puma's site and sold out.
God, I didn't even realize that. I thought they would have been coming out maybe November or something like that for holiday time.
Well, it's very Nintendo to do what they did. Yeah. They're trying to get into the shoe market. I mean, not trying to get into the shoe market, but they are a shoe market with no announcement. And if we're, as the casual shoe fan, for instance, sneakerhead, you might know a little bit more about it. Like that, not you specifically, pronouns, pal, but the sneakerhead themselves might know about the drop instead of a Nintendo person, because the first time a Nintendo person heard about it was on Friday.
Was the Direct.
Yeah.
Or Thursday, I think.
Whatever day it was, but I mean, I'm really excited about all this stuff coming out.
And like, there's still even more stuff that like there's gonna be a Splatfest.
Yeah.
Which you can actually buy the Splatfest t-shirts this time. So I might
actually do that.
I'm about to buy a Splatfest t-shirt. You can buy a Splatfest keychains, which are cool.
Yeah. But there's furniture coming to Animal Crossing.
Yeah, there's
playing a lot of.
There's gonna be a tournament in Smash, which cool. I mean, like, it's cool. A bunch of cool stuff to honor the 35th anniversary of Mario. I think next year Pokemon turns 25. So
yeah, we'll because see, if I recall correctly, Mario turned 30 when I was in college, and that's when all the amiibo hype was going on. They had the 8-bit Mario.
Yes.
They had the re-release of All Stars for the Wii, but it was actually for the Wii U.
So you have that, and then like the year after it was Pokemon 2020, which was, you know,
they had all the digital releases of the first 3 games, right?
Yeah, it was the first. And then they had like a special sets of the trading cards, and I think they announced Sun and Moon that year, and like it was good to be a Pokemon fan. So I'm curious if they're gonna do anything major for that.
Yeah, so Nintendo always seems to do good with these kind of things, but then there's the point in time where you're like, okay, when's Nintendo gonna pull the Nintendo and underproduce? Which I mean, they're giving you the expectation of only being able to get the physical, minimum, the physical copy of 3D All Stars until March.
Yeah, and I guess the good part about I think I mentioned this earlier. I'm probably repeating myself, but if I can't find a physical copy, I'll just freaking download it.
Yeah,
Bite the bullet.
I'm a physical copy guy, but
if I can buy,
if I had to, I'd download it. I guess
the only game that I have that I could buy a physical copy of, and I have a digital copy of, is Animal Crossing. I barely play that anymore. I only bought it because like Animal Crossing was the kind of game that you want to pick up and just play for a little bit and then put it back down. It would suck to have to put a new cartridge, take it out. So convenience.
Well, that's what makes me want to play these games even more. The actually having the physical thing as right. Like you spent $60 on this, so you should probably play it.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of does it for the Nintendo talk.
A little bit longer than we wanted to go, but
that's okay. Jarret, what do you? We each have a segment on this show. I have my collection corner. Steven has his favorite game ever this week. What do you plan on talking about?
So mine, when I'm on here, and this is something Dylan is a big fan of. Steven could care less. But since it's me and Dylan, we found this great opportunity to talk about something we both love and hate at the same time, and that's professional wrestling.
I'm more of a hate guy right now.
And that's kind of where I wanted to go with this. I'm going to talk about the state of wrestling from the fans' perspective. Ever since I'm not sure if you want to say it or not, the event in the world that is going on right now that's changing everyone's life.
We've talked about it multiple times.
So okay. Ever since COVID started, both the WWE and All Elite Wrestling, which is probably my favorite of the two, AEW, they have drastically changed how they produce their weekly television shows. For a long period of time, there was no one there. And then they eventually started, maybe we'll just get some of the other wrestlers to stand around and act as a crowd. And I lost my love for wrestling. Mm-hmm. It was so difficult to engage myself when it's just people in a ring, play fighting. Well, my favorite description of wrestling ever is a bunch of almost fully naked men wrestling over a belt. And
it's not a wrong description.
Yeah, it's not. But it was just so weird. It's just so take you out of the environment. And then when they started getting the other wrestlers and stuff in there as fans, it was difficult to watch because the reactions weren't genuine. They were told how to react.
Yeah.
And that now WWE is doing something called Thunderdome, which is it's a great idea and concept. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of LED screens around where if you get in line or something, you can apply to be part of it, and that's cool. I get that. That's really neat. But it's still
before you move on to your next point. It's not a controlled environment either with that. So it kind of makes it like the natural fan experience with that Thunderdome. I haven't watched WWE since WrestleMania because I was like, I'm pissed. I can't watch this anymore. And not being a controlled environment, I know the obvious thing that people are going to bring up is the Chris Benoit photo, which is probably the famous thing.
Yeah, so...
the Fire Velveteen Dream.
Yeah.
The... KKK.
Yeah, and mine. He's just. These are things that like how I said, when you could like live stream into these, people are putting this stuff up on the screen. So they're trying to hurt the I don't know. They're just being a bunch of
jerks.
Yeah. Let's just
the most egregious one was and I'll say it, and I'm usually the hot take person on here, and this isn't really a hot take, but it's the most controversial thing that will probably come out of this entire podcast. A beheading.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, I mean, it's not funny, but you can't help but to say, like, how did this get passed?
Yeah.
So that made me like, I'm not watching it, but that made me think it's like they're gonna do away with this. So you're gonna do it yourself.
Yeah, and it is basically what my whole segment right now is just talking about. When I'm on, I guess my segment will be just talking about wrestling in general, but this one in particular, since being the first one, I want to talk about the state of being a fan, because the industry right now is actually not doing terrible. WWE just had the most profitable quarter it's ever had. Mind you, they also released, a third of their roster, but we'll not talk about that. I still think WWE is a pretty darn evil company. But they're profitable. They are making money hand over fist. But as a fan, it's so hard to get invested. I prefer to consume my wrestling right now by listening to YouTube channels after the fact. So they take a whole 3-hour Raw and put it in a 30-minute review. And that's just how I am right now. And it's just so painful because it's something that I loved. And I know Dylan and I, we used to, there's a theater in our college that we would get people in, especially for like WrestleMania. We would get like 50 people in that theater watching it, and it'd be really exciting and stuff like that. And like now, I'm just like, I can't think back and feel that same excitement about watching wrestling.
If it's Monday or Friday, especially, I'd much rather watch the Pittsburgh Pirates get whooped.
Yeah. I mean, I'd much rather go play golf or something like.
That's the biggest thing is we've been, I mean, I'm 25, you're 24, about to turn 24 at least.
Yeah.
We've been lifelong fans. Our dad was a fan. Our mom was a fan, especially since Kurt Angle, because he's like a local guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember being very young and my mom, our mom going about Kurt Angle and stuff like that. And then he ended up being one of her customers at the place she works.
Yeah.
So the fact is, if you were able to turn off somebody from wrestling that has been a fan for, I would say probably 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Roughly, with some spurts in there without wrestling and,
there's about like a 3-4 year, high school, I didn't really watch wrestling, but that's about it.
Yeah, but if you're able to turn people off like that, imagine the kids who are trying to get into it now.
Yeah.
And they see the Fiend sticking his fingers in Alexa Bliss's mouth.
That was weird.
Well, and now she's turning into a bad guy.
I don't get it.
And she's going to probably join him. But then you go to AEW, which I have enjoyed.
AEW came to Pittsburgh, what was it, like last October or something like that. And that was probably the most fun I've ever had at a wrestling event.
Yeah, we got, we sat in the nosebleeds to begin with, but then they actually moved us down to the lower bowl.
Mm.
Sat
in nosebleeds because they sold out so freaking quick.
Yeah, the pyro was there. Like, it felt like what it would have felt like to go to Raw when we were like, I don't know, 10 and 8.
Exactly. And yeah, that's exactly my thoughts too.
And if you can capture, and that's why I'm a big Disney fan, and we can kind of transition into a collection corner because I'm going to talk about my Disney collection. But if you can capture like the imagination of whether it's a 4-year-old, 12-year-old, 25-year-old, or a 98-year-old, you probably got something good going there. There's nothing.
They had something. They had something for so long in the last 5 years. So the thing is, this has not just been COVID related. This has been for a long time coming.
Especially with WWE.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I mean it happens. They'll ramp up somehow.
They'll bounce back.
Take over. Yeah.
Wrestling has always been a cyclical industry. You'll have your highs, and you'll have your lows, and they will come back.
We're in that 1996 spot or 1994 spot right now.
Yeah, 1994. Freaking the Repo Man is about to come out on AEW next week.
I wouldn't be surprised. They will get anybody to show up.
Yeah. Anyway.
But you have anything else really to say about the state of wrestling?
I mean, no. I just basically just talking about how just difficult it is to be a fan right now, and it'll get better. I'll fall in love with wrestling again. I know I will.
That's good. One thing that I've never fallen out of love with, though, is Disney. Do you like that transition?
Oh, God.
But I have been a Disney fan for as long as I can remember, and as an adult, sometimes it comes off very... You can say the word. You can say whatever word you're going to describe.
Weird. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I'm sitting in my office right now, and I have some like Disney Funko Pops. Obviously, I have a whole pin board that's full of Disney pins. I wear Mickey Mouse T-shirts occasionally, stuff like that. But for me, and my collection corner always ends up turning into a rant.
Mm-hmm.
There's always been some like charming aspect of Disney, and I try to ignore the business side as much as I can, especially them laying off 25% of their park staff.
How much?
25, I think, %.
Well, also a lot of the regular employees too. One of my best friends was working for Disney and got laid off.
Yeah.
So
a lot of they're Florida's largest employer.
Yeah, I think so.
But there's like a Disney item for everything. Like I have a pair of Mickey Mouse Vans. I'm looking at a Funko Pop Town Mickey Mouse with Sleeping Beauty's castle for Disneyland's 65th anniversary. I've never been to Disneyland, but I had to buy it. On my desk, my mom got me for graduating from college a Mickey Mouse statue with him in a cap and gown holding a diploma. And that's kind of the genius of the Disney company in general, and it started with Walt Disney because he would basically license Mickey Mouse out to anything. Yeah. Or any Disney character out to anything. For instance, Ingersoll watches. Go ahead.
Oregon, University of Oregon.
Yeah, they're the only college team that's allowed to use Donald Duck as a mascot. The Ingersoll watches. I've never heard of Ingersoll watches, but I know the only thing that I know about them is they're the ones who originally made the Mickey Mouse watch. They're pins. They have a whole market of pins, which we could get into even deeper with the secondary market of literally pins. Funko products, T-shirts, baby clothes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was a TV at one point back in the early 2000s that had a built-in VCR that the speakers were on the top of the TV that looked like mouse ears. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but why don't you have it?
Because I don't have a need for a CRT TV. And my girlfriend would probably murder me if I brought 19-inch Mickey Mouse TV into the house that weighs probably the same as my 55-inch flat screen.
You need it.
Well, my birthday's in January, so you can get me it for my birthday. But, yeah, I mean, from my own collection, I have the pins, I have the shirts, shirts I don't really consider collectible, unless if you're talking like Supreme and stuff like that. Oh, I have the Funko products. My dogs even, we got them new harnesses yesterday. I took 2 buttons, like the pin buttons, and put them on the harnesses. Like, don't worry, my dogs are safe. The metal's not touching them at all. But there's a Mickey Mouse. I have a boy and a girl dog. There's a Mickey Mouse pin on the boy dogs, and there's a Minnie Mouse pin on the girl dogs. Just so I can tell their harnesses apart because they're, one's pink and one's red, so they're pretty similar color. But I think it's just like kind of the genius of Disney to be able to say like, yep, sign off on literally anything other than, I would say, erotic toys. And
I'm sure those exist somewhere, just not with Disney's permission.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure at some point there's been like a Mickey Mouse edition car. Kiss had a Mini Cooper. I'm sure there's been a Mickey Mouse car.
Oh, I'm sure.
Living with me in for the entire life until I moved out. Did the Disney stuff ever get annoying? Here's a question.
No, because usually you would keep it like to your own room.
That's true.
You won't get like over the top.
Yeah, I think I got over the top in college and out of college. I mean, I really only keep the Disney stuff in my office now that I think about it. So yeah, you're right. But I do know also the Disney collectors who are way over the top.
Yes.
And they own annual passes and live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. Like,
Yeah.
You're
Why?
nuts. But I mean, hey, if you can do it, you can do it. But that's kind of it for my collection corner. Do
Yeah,
you have
I
anything
mean,
else to add?
no, I mean, I just coming from somebody that, like I said, I have a business background. Disney is both. Uh, they're both a company to marvel at and a little bit of a threat for just
Monopoly.
yeah, but that could be a whole long story. But Disney, there's no denying the success of Disney.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Like
they all
that,
got bought out in the '80s by aggressive, by what's it called, takeover.
yeah.
But then
But
they released The Little Mermaid and that kind of stuff, and you know,
yeah, I mean, it's definitely a company to learn a lot from.
I mean, I even have a Mickey Mouse waffle maker. I just
Yeah,
saw that out of my eye.
yeah.
So, uh, but anyways, to kind of wrap things up here, Jarret, I know that you really haven't played video games with us recently. I wanted to get your thoughts though on what kind of progression you think we've made in Super Mario World.
Well, knowing the two of you, I feel like nothing.
All right, so that's going to do it for episode 4 of the Nerdcast. Do you have anything to say to the people before we sign off here?
Uh, you know, for as much kind of doom and gloom as we've talked about, be it with Nintendo or with the wrestling in general, for my little rant, you always have to remember when is bad. Like, this is something that I've always thought about. When I'm playing, when I'm go back and I play, some of my favorite games of all time. Man, when video games are good, there's nothing better. When professional wrestling is good, there's nothing better. And you gotta know that there will be those times again. It might not seem like it right now, but we're just like wrestling will bounce back. Video games will like no matter how angry they might make you, Nintendo might make you, they will uh they'll come through in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So while yes, I get have this negative look on it, I am also optimistic for the future because it will get better.
I think that's a good kind of sentiment for everything in life, not just video games and wrestling. And it's as bad as it can get, it's going to get better.
I mean, that's life right now. Like listen, no one's enjoying right now what's happening in the world. But all we have to do is do your part to make it better.
Yeah.
Wear a mask. Stay away from people. It sucks. If you want to hang out with a friend, go ahead. Be safe about it. Be smart about it.
Yeah, like me and Steven always say, people are out there. Reach out to your friends, play some games, talk some nerd stuff with them. Yeah.
And with today's day and age, like I have plenty of online friends, and all I have to do is go on Discord and be like, "Hey, anyone want to play Smash?" And somebody will be like, "Yeah, sure." And guess what? There you go. So while it stings, it's just a matter of kind of keeping like your head up, and we'll get through this if we all work together.
Yep. With that being said, this is Dylan saying bye. Steven will probably be back next week if I had to guess. If not, we'll go from there.
See me again.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys later.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.